Learning objectives. After completing this module, learners will be able to describe the problems faced by women. List the reformers who worked for the betterment of women in society. Recall the change in the life of widows. Recognize the literary works for the upliftment of women in society. Highlight social and caste reforms. Explain the non-Brahman movement. Working towards change. About 200 years ago, things were very difficult in our society. There were so many restrictions imposed on women. Widows were praised and called satis, meaning virtuous, if they chose to by burning themselves on the funeral pyres of their husbands. People were also divided on the basis of caste. Brahmins and Kshatriyas were considered in upper caste. The traders and money lenders were known as Vaishyas, and the lower caste were Shudras, which included peasants, artisans, weavers, and potter. Working towards change. In early 19th century, things changed because of the development of new forms of communication. Social reformers like Raja Ram Mohan Roy founded Brahmo Samaj in Calcutta. He wanted to spread the knowledge of Western education and bring the sense of freedom and equality for women. Changing the lives of widows. Raja Ram Mohan Roy started a campaign against the practice of sati. He worked for the abolishment of sati through his writings by showing that the practice of burning women had no acceptance in ancient texts. Many British officials criticized the Indian traditions and customs. They supported Raja Ram Mohan Roy, and in 1829, sati was banned. Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar was one of the most famous reformers who suggested widow remarriage. In 1856, British officials passed the law permitting widow remarriage. In 1875, Swami Dhyanand Saraswati founded the Arya Samaj, an organization for the reformation of Hinduism. Girls begin going to school. Girls begin going to school. Many reformers felt that to improve the condition of women, educating the girls was necessary. Many reformers like Jyotirao Phule in Maharashtra and Vidyasagar in Calcutta started schools for girls. In North India, women of aristocratic Muslim families learned to read the Quran in Arabic. They were taught by women teachers at home. Women write about women. Muslim women like Begums of Bhopal promoted education among women and founded a primary school for girls at Aligarh. Begum Ruqayya Sakhawat Hussain, a fearless critic of conservative ideas, argued that all religious leaders of different faiths awarded an inferior place to women. She started schools for Muslim girls in Patna and Calcutta. Indian women began to enter universities by 1880s and were trained to be doctors and teachers. Pandita Ramabai was a great scholar of Sanskrit who wrote a book about the miserable lives of upper-class Hindu women. She started a widow's home in Pune to provide shelter to widows who were ill-treated by their husbands' relatives. Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose gave their support to need for greater equality and freedom for women. Caste and social reforms. In 1840, the Prarthna Samaj was founded in Bombay. Pratna Samaj believed in spiritual equality of all caste. Social reformers like Raja Ram Mohan Roy criticized caste inequalities. Paramhans Mandali was founded in 1840 in Bombay to work for the abolition of caste. During 19th century, schools were set up by Christians missionaries for tribal groups and lower caste children. Poor people left their villages and moved to cities in search of jobs. This movement of people resulted in new demands of labor, like roads were laid, new buildings were constructed, drains were dug, cities were cleaned, etc. Lower caste people were given the job of coolie, diggers, sewage cleaners, carriers, etc. in order to fulfill the new demands of labor. Some lower caste people also migrated to work in plantations in Assam, Mauritius, Trinidad and Indonesia in order to get away from the oppressive hold of upper caste landowners. John Allen was a coolie ship that carried many Indian laborers to Mauritius. Demands for equality and justice. People of lower castes began organizing movements against caste discrimination and started demanding social equality and justice by the second half of the 19th century. Ghasidas, a lower caste, founded the Satnami movement in central India. Haridas Thakur's Matua sect in eastern Bengal worked among low-caste Chandala cultivators. Haridas questioned Brahmanical texts that support the caste system. In Kerala, Sri Narayan Guru of Ezava caste argued against the unequal treatment of people based on caste. According to Narayan Guru, all human belonged to same caste. Gulamgiri. Jyotirao Phule, born in 1827, was known as one of the most vocal low-caste leader. He attacked the Brahmans who regarded themselves as superior to others. According to Jyotirao Phule, the upper caste had no right to their land and power. The land belonged to indigenous people who were called as low castes. Phule proposed that Shudras and Atishudras should unite together to challenge caste discrimination. The Satyashodhak Samaj was founded by Phule to spread caste equality. Gulamgiri, a book written by Phule in 1873. Phule dedicated this book to Americans who had fought for the freedom of slaves. In 20th century, the movement for caste reform was continued by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar. Who could enter temples? Bhimrao Ambedkar was born into a Mahar family. As a child, he faced caste-based discrimination. Ambedkar started a temple entry movement in 1927 in order to make people realize the power of caste prejudices within the society. Ambedkar led 3 such movements for temple entry between 1927 and 1935. The non-Brahman movement. In Western India, the non-Brahman movement was the strongest in Maharashtra. Jyotirao Phule, who belonged to the Mali caste, was the intellectual head of this movement. His writings and his Satyashodhak Samaj were the foundation for this movement. Later, Shahu Maharaj, who was the Maratha king of Kolhapur, also turned against the Brahmans. The 1920s saw the rise of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's Dalit movement. In South India, the non-Brahmin movement was called as the self-respect movement. Most of the Brahmins in Tamil Nadu were literate, and so they were able to adapt to the British culture soon. This caused a difference in between the Brahmin class and the non-Brahman classes. In 1916, the non-Brahman movement became a political movement in the Madras city. This led to the formation of a Justice Party, which had representatives from the Muslim religion, Christians, and the Shudras. However, later there were internal conflicts within the Justice Party, and a national movement was started which attracted most of the non-Brahman peasants. E.V. Ramasamy Naikar, also known as Periyar, was an important intellectual behind this movement. He started a satyagraha in Vaikom, Kerala, on the Gandhian footsteps and supported the Harijans also. Summary. Let us summarize what we have learned. Widows were praised and called satis, meaning virtuous, if they chose to by burning themselves on the funeral pyres of their husbands. People were also divided on the basis of caste. Brahmins and Kshatriyas were considered in upper caste. The traders and moneylenders were known as Vaishyas, and the lower caste were Shudras, which included peasants, artisans, weavers, and potter. Muslim women like Begums of Bhopal promoted education among women and founded a primary school for girls at Aligarh. Paramhans Mandali was founded in 1840 in Bombay to work for the abolition of caste. According to Jyotirao Phule, the upper caste had no right to their land and power. The land belonged to indigenous people who were called as low castes. In South India, the non-Brahmin movement was called as the self-respect movement.